give you a little history first about what Enyo is, where it came from. It was originally developed for the HP TouchPad. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was the ill-fated tablet that Palm designed with HP. It was really going to showcase what webOS was all about. And in order to make development easy on the touchpad, we developed the Enyo framework, which was a modern HTML5-focused JavaScript framework. And although the touchpad is no more, Enyo lives on. And what we decided to do was to take all the work that we did on Enyo, which we call that version was Enyo 1.0. What we decided to do was take all the work that we did on that and update it so that it works on all the modern browsers, not just the browser that came with the touchpad. And so Enyo now works on iPads, Chrome browser, Firefox, IE8 and up, mobile and desktop. This is a very important distinction. You may be asking yourself, another JavaScript framework, why there's so many of them out there. Certainly we looked at all these different frameworks when we were deciding what we're going to do, and there have been dozens since these all came out as well. And there's some really exciting ones that are coming out, certainly, and they all work nicely with Enyo because of the way we decided to go about building it. One of the things that we saw that other frameworks were lacking was a focus on object-oriented design. If you look at something like a jQuery, for example, it's all about browser enhancement, bringing additional features, normalizing the browser for different environments. But it's not very well suited for designing apps. What we really wanted when we originally designed this for the touchpad was for people to create native applications using JavaScript. They're not going to have the look and feel of the operating system it's based on. You're not going to have a Mac application, you're not going to have a PC application or an iPad app, but it will have a consistent look and feel which will work well on all these different devices at the different resolutions. Some of the other benefits that Enyo brings to the table are a package loading system, so that it makes it very easy to reuse pieces of applications, to load libraries that may be necessary. As I mentioned, we can work with things like jQuery and other libraries. Backbone is another library for data manipulation that I know the xTuple guys use, and we work very nicely with that because our focus is more on the UI and the app development layer, and other layers can be dealt with other libraries. And another great thing about Enyo is the community. We have a really great community out there, and right there, a gentleman right there has actually contributed an Enyo kind to our community gallery. And maybe he'll talk about that a little bit and his experiences with Enyo towards the end.
So we started trying to do work to get it to be able to handle the mobile things well, since there's really nothing else that did that. But this framework to start with was like 300,000 lines of code, something that came out of Apple a few years ago. Mobile Me was on it. So it's 300,000 lines of code. We got it whittled down to 200,000 lines of code. And then we went and showed off our thing and met these guys at a conference where we were showing off our thing and they were showing off their thing. And we decided their thing was better. And their thing was 30,000 lines of code. I mean, they didn't have a data layer like you said, so we found Backbone, but Backbone was like 1,000 lines of code compared to Sprout Core's 6,500 lines of code that did the same thing. So, 32,000 lines of code, but we could pick it up in a few days. We could see how we were going to build our app, whereas it took us months before to build anything. So, yeah, having a small size to start with just makes it so much easier to get started because you got to learn all these things, right? You got to learn what the objects are and their functions. And if there's 50,000 of them, it takes forever to learn them. But if there's a nice subset and they're well designed, so with that small set, you can do whatever you want. You can pick it up pretty quick.
As you can see, we can scroll pretty quickly. this is a lazy loading list, so it's pulling these images out from Flickr as we're scrolling through the list. These are panels. Panels can be done in a number of different ways. Here we've just got panels where each panel takes up a full page. But we can change this to be ones where they slide in. We can do a carousel or side by side. So, a number of different options available for layout on panels. They're one of the most powerful
You just
layout.
change one property, and you switch that. It's like super easy.
Yeah. So you can get a number of different looks. This here is a panel with a thumb drag on there, so that we can slide through there. And this is a panel where we've got just a back button. The only other thing I want to show you real quickly is the what's the source?
Who's that guy?
This guy? Oh, yeah, keep tweaking us. We can't get it. I'm going to show you really. I want to show you really quickly that that all the source for Enyo is on GitHub. You can browse and take a look at all the source code that we're working on and contribute to it. It is an open source project, so we are happy to accept contributions from people outside of HP, and we want people to be contributing to it. It is something that is very much a community project. And so one of the things that Enyo does is it has tried to solve all those problems for you by detecting one certain type of browser and using different animation, for example, so that input controls work. If you use CSS transformations on Android, but for people who don't have a lot of programming experience, it's a very easy way to create applications here.
What's in it for HP?
I was going to ask the same question. How does Enyo fit into HP's business plans?
It's a great question, and I hear that every single time. Realistically, HP is using the tool internally for developing apps for its enterprise customers and for developing tools internally. We, by creating the tool, we not only give something to the community, but we're developing something that we can use to develop apps more quickly and develop more robust apps. And I guess I should finish off by saying thank you to the xTuple folks for inviting me out here to talk.
And similar point, I mean, everything we're doing for the new mobile web client is also on GitHub, right? So you go look for the xTuple repository on GitHub, and you'll find quite a lot.